In ancient Rome, marriages were primarily transactional, serving as alliances between families and fulfilling political objectives. Fidelity had a different meaning than it does today, as husbands engaging in extramarital affairs were not only widely accepted, but often expected. The reality of Roman society's sexual practices is far from a simple narrative of liberation or repression. It is a complex tapestry that defies categorization. To understand Roman sexuality, we must consider their unique societal norms and expectations. While there were glimpses of openness and permissiveness, they were often limited to specific circles or contexts. Roman sexual practices were multifaceted and varied. Marital infidelity and extramarital affairs were prevalent in ancient Roman marriages. Both men and women engaged in relationships outside of wedlock, benefiting from the transactional nature of unions. However, it is important to note that fidelity within marriage remained valued by many Romans, and not everyone participated in extramarital liaisons. Join us as we uncover the truth behind the lives of male and female concubines in the Roman Empire. Through this exploration, we aim to shed light on the complexities of Roman sexuality and challenge simplistic notions. The complexities of sexuality in ancient Rome. Sexuality in ancient Rome was a complex and nuanced concept that differed greatly from our modern understanding. The Romans did not categorize individuals based on their sexual orientation, such as homo, bi, or heterosexual. Instead, they focused on the power dynamics inherent in sexual acts. In heterosexual relationships, the man was seen as the dominant figure, while the woman played a submissive role, reinforcing the power dynamic. On the other hand, in same-sex relationships between men, one partner had to assume a more passive and submissive position, aligning with traditional feminine attributes. Interestingly, Roman society did not view infidelity in the same light as it does today. It was common for men in positions of power, including emperors, to have both male and female lovers without it being perceived as cheating. The absence of contraceptives and the high mortality rate associated with childbirth made non-marital relationships a form of birth control for men, ensuring the safety of their wives. Consequently, engaging in extramarital affairs was not only accepted, but also expected of men in Roman society. However, same-sex relationships in ancient Rome were not without complications. There was an expectation that the partner in a homosexual relationship with higher status, such as an emperor, would assume the dominant and masculine role. This adherence to power dynamics confused the Roman public when individuals in positions of great authority chose to take on submissive and feminine roles. An example of this was Julius Caesar, who, despite his immense power, enjoyed assuming a passive role in relationships with men, causing bewilderment among the populace. Concubinage and homosexuality in ancient Rome. Concubinage played a significant role in Roman society, particularly concerning sexuality. Under Roman law, concubinage was acknowledged and tolerated, providing a recognized but informal union between a Roman man and a concubina, a female concubine. Often, these concubinas were free women whose lower social status prevented them from marrying. Additionally, concubinage involved a concubinus, a male slave chosen by his master as a sexual partner before formal marriage to a woman. Roman society did not differentiate between same-sex and mixed-gender relationships using specific terminology. Adult males engaging in passive sexual roles with slaves or prostitutes, particularly males, were expected to play a secondary role within the context of marriage. Masculine authority and dominance were emphasized within the institution of marriage, while same-sex relations were allowed with certain restrictions. Passive partners in same-sex relationships often faced prejudice, as Roman homosexuality was primarily centered around power dynamics. The Roman attitude toward homosexuality was not characterized by liberalism. Rather, it stemmed from a fixation on masculinity through acts of penetration. While men were encouraged to engage in extramarital affairs, including with prostitutes, dancing girls, and older males, they were expected to maintain the active, penetrating role. Being passive and assuming the receptive role was deemed effeminate and subjected men to ridicule and denunciation. Slavery had a profound influence on male homosexual relationships in ancient Rome. The widespread Hellenization of Roman society and the acceptance of male pederastic relationships were facilitated by Rome's expansion and the adoption of slavery on a large scale. Roman men often maintained relationships with male concubines or bedmates before entering into official marriages. These relationships were considered stable, not exclusive, but privileged, and the concubines, within the hierarchy of household slaves, held a special status that might be threatened by the introduction of a wife. Male concubines sometimes attended social gatherings with their companions, highlighting the varying degrees of openness in these relationships. They could even pass from father to son as coveted inheritances. During military campaigns, officers might be accompanied by a concubiness, akin to a catamite or puer delicatus. The comparison of concubines to Ganymede, the Trojan prince abducted by Jove to serve as his cupbearer, further illustrates the cultural significance and acceptance of these relationships. While same-sex relationships were not legally recognized during the early imperial era, they were surprisingly common, even among the emperors themselves. Exploring the private lives of Roman emperors provides a fascinating glimpse into the customs, attitudes, and societal norms of the ancient world, challenging our contemporary perceptions. The intricate interplay between power, gender roles, slavery, and social status shaped the landscape of sexuality in ancient Rome, leaving a lasting imprint on history. Emperor Hadrian. In the fascinating world of Roman emperors and their love lives, one ruler stands out for his preference for male companionship: Emperor Hadrian. When Hadrian became emperor in 117 CE, he showed that he was interested only in men and not in women. Although he was married for political reasons, he and his wife never had children, which makes historians think they may have never had a physical relationship. Hadrian had many male partners, and he paid a lot of attention to them. He even wrote many poems about his lovers, which were very romantic and sometimes explicit. Out of all the men who were in Hadrian's life, one person was especially important: Antonius, an attractive man. Hadrian made sure that Antonius received a good education, and they traveled together to many different places in the vast Roman Empire, experiencing its wonders. Unfortunately, something very tragic happened during their travels in Egypt. Antonius drowned in the mysterious waters of the Nile, leaving Hadrian devastated and filled with sadness. To honor his beloved companion, Hadrian built a city at the exact place where Antonius died and named it Antonopolis, a name that represented their everlasting connection. The city became a lasting memory of their love. Hadrian's love for Antonius didn't end there. He brought Antonius' preserved body back to Rome as a symbol of their deep bond. Hadrian even had coins made with Antonius' face on them, immortalizing his lover. He went even further and declared Antonius a god, commanding that people throughout the vast Roman Empire worship and honor him. Antonius became a divine figure. His presence was felt in temples and in the hearts of many. Emperor Elagabalus. During the eventful 3rd century AD, Emperor Elagabalus made headlines with his array of male lovers. Among them, 2 individuals stood out prominently. Heracles, who was once a slave and a skilled chariot driver, captured the emperor's attention with his undeniable allure. Zodicus, a charming and handsome young athlete, entered the emperor's life and eventually became his spouse through a publicly celebrated wedding ceremony held in Rome. Venus. Venus, the mesmerizing goddess of love, stands as an intriguing exemplar of a deity intertwined with same-sex relationships. In the realms of ancient mythology, she reigns supreme, embodying the essence of all types of love and garnering accolades from illustrious figures, like the renowned Greek poet Sappho of Lesbos. It's fascinating to discover that the Romans, in their distinctive manner, perceived lesbian relationships through the lens of penetration, deeming it the sole criterion of sexual activity. This peculiar perspective seemingly bestowed upon them a relaxed disposition towards women who found love in one another, resulting in numerous instances of Roman women embracing romantic connections. Diana, another celestial being, emerges as a harbinger of female homosexuality. She, with an unyielding resolve, spurned the company of men, seeking solace and fulfillment solely in the companionship of women. Modern historians, delving into the annals of antiquity, unanimously corroborate the prevalence of same-sex relationships among women during the Roman era, further cementing this supposition. A tale both enigmatic and beguiling entwines the enigmatic Roman Emperor Trajan, whose untimely demise, shrouded in mystery, unfolded in Sicilia, possibly the victim of a nefarious poison. His mortal remains, in a solemn ceremony, found their way to Rome, where they were reverently cremated and laid to rest at the majestic base of Trajan's Column, an eternal tribute to his grandeur. Trajan's union with Pompeia Plotina, alas, did not bear the fruit of progeny. The accounts penned by Cassius Dio and echoed by modern scholars propose that Trajan himself might have harbored same-sex inclinations. Among the whispers of whispered desires, the figure of Hadrian, his cousin, and eventual adopted son, assumed a prominent role. In a twist of fate, as Trajan lay on his deathbed, he reputedly declared Hadrian his chosen heir, shrouding the adoption in an aura of mystery. The details surrounding this clandestine event remained veiled, known only to Trajan's wife, the enigmatic Plotina, and the elusive prefect Hadrianus, speculated to have been Plotina's lover. A document sealed with Plotina's signature sparked a whirlwind of conjecture and tales. Yet, the Senate, wary of igniting turmoil, chose not to challenge the legitimacy of the adoption. The military, swift to respond, acclaimed Hadrian as their sovereign, paving the way for the Senate's subsequent approval. Shifting tides. Throughout the annals of time, the attitude towards homosexuality in Rome underwent a metamorphosis. In the twilight of the empire, some historians assert that same-sex marriages enjoyed a semblance of acceptance within society's embrace. However, with the advent of Christianity, a paradigm shift unfolded, dimming the light of tolerance. As the populace turned away from the gods of old and embraced the teachings of the Abrahamic faiths, the shadow of stigma enveloped homosexuality, ultimately casting it into the realm of criminality. It was Emperor Justinian I, an imposing figure of the Byzantine Empire, who resolutely declared homosexuality as contrary to nature and decreed its illegality throughout the empire. This trend continued with the advent of Islam, which, while building upon the foundations of Judaism and Christianity, fortified the prevailing condemnation of same-sex love. The ever-evolving narrative between ancient Rome and homosexuality unfurls with captivating allure, casting light upon the interplay of societal attitudes, religious convictions, and the unyielding ebb and flow of human desires. Through the tales of Venus, Diana, Trajan, and Hadrian, we glimpse the intricate tapestry of love, attraction, and the mutable fabric of cultural acceptance. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Remember to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and share the video.